Like I've said it lots of times, Billy Joe's probably the most talented I've worked with, natural talent. So I know there's still plenty left in there. He was growing into the fight with Canelo, and I know there's a lot left in that tank.
What's good, family? Smash the like button and subscribe. So we just heard there from 2021's Instagram Trainer of the Year, Boxer Size Ben. Now I can't lie to you, man. It's quite ironic that we're doing this video right now because there's been if you man haven't noticed already, in the last week or so, there's been a concerted effort by all MTK patrons, by all MTK sponsees, to really combat and go against this Boxer Size Ben narrative. But you best believe the YB picked up on it, and that's why this video is coming out hot right about now. You best believe. Because what do we know? Tyrone Booth questioning the Boxer Size Ben narrative. IFL TV questioning the Boxer Size Ben narrative. Michelle the Fire Phelps questioning the Boxer Size Ben narrative. So don't tell me about YB, you're lying. YB, what you talking about? There ain't no MTK script. Oh no, don't tell me. It's just a coincidence that Tyrone, MTK Tyrone, and IFL TV and everyone's talking about Boxer Size Ben this week magically, right? Okay then. Anyway, let's get to it, because listen, people keep Tyrone questioning why people call Boxer Size Ben Boxer Size Ben. Ben himself questioning why people call him Boxer Size Ben. Yeah? Ben himself ringing my line saying, YB, why have you given me the Instagram Trainer of the Year award? Giving it all that he was. Well, now you know why. So I'm going to tell you why, right now. Listen to the words, your man's, the 2021 Instagram Trainer of the Year Award winner. Listen to the words that came out of his mouth just now in regards to Billy Ho Saunders. I know plenty was left against Canelo Alvarez. He was growing into the fight. He has a lot left. I knew he had a lot left in the tank. Wow. Don't no one ever at me. Don't no one ever at me. Least of all Tyrone, MTK Tyrone, or anyone from MTK, questioning why he is called Boxer Size Instagram Trainer of the Year 2021. In fact, not only 2021, I'm telling you now, Ben Shilvidson is going to win the Instagram Trainer of the Year award 2021 through 2030, 100%, unless there's some miracle that happens and there's some next Instagram trainer. But trust me, Boxer Size Ben, he is, yeah, he is the #1 Instagram trainer right now. There's no doubt about that. And it's for these comments, this pure shillery. The YB and his dons, we are about boxing, the purity of the sport. I don't care about no personalities, I don't care about nothing else. The purity of the sport. That's why I could appreciate people like Josh Taylor under Shane McGuigan. You might know my opinion. Josh Taylor under Shane McGuigan, in my opinion, was the best fighter in the world. Or the most, I wouldn't say the best, but I'd say he was had the most serious skills. On a pure skill basis, Josh Taylor was #1 in the world under Shane McGuigan. Now, unfortunately, that's faded, but the point is, the YB knows his boxing. There's not a bit of doubt about that. Yeah? Watch Josh Taylor's performances. Look at the overall skill and overall conditioning, psychological and physical. There's a reason no one calls Shane McGuigan Boxer Size Shane. Why? Because his fighters don't play no games. Yeah? Shane don't sit there and blow smoke up people's arse, talking about how someone quit, but yet he was on top and he was growing into the fight and he had a lot left in the tank, and I know he had plenty left. If you knew, Ben, wait there a minute, if you knew Billy Ho had so much left, if you knew he was growing into the fight, why did you beg and guilt trip Mark Tibbs to throw in a towel in? Should you not have been saying, come on Billy, you've got plenty left, you're growing into the fight, you're winning. Let's not forget as well, Boxer Size Ben, after the fight, was telling everyone that, oh, you know, some people had it up, some people had him up around, some people had it a draw, some people had him down around, but, you know, some people had him up 2 rounds. What? So wait a minute, So in your mind, some people had him up around, and he was growing into the fight, and he had a lot left in the tank, because you know this, which is what you just said. So he's up a few rounds, he's growing into the fight. So why were you guilt tripping Mark Tibbs to throw the towel in? Why was you chewing his ear off? You should have been sitting back and looking pretty, thinking, you know what? We're nice. Yes, we've just got a bit of bruising on our eye, but it's not the end of the world. He can still see just fine. He can just see just fine. Not even a bit of error with his vision did he have. Not at all. All he had was a bit of bruising. You should have been rock hard to send him back out there. And do you know the thing is, do you know the scary thing about it is, if any of you man are kind of confused and not sure the difference between a solid trainer, an old school trainer, and a 2021 Fruity Loop, contrast the reactions, because this for me is the perfect example, the perfect deviation between Instagram trainer 2021 style and old school. Look at the difference between Mark Tibbs' reaction to that round 8 and Boxer Size Ben's reaction. If you, again, any of you man are confused, any of you man want an example of the difference of what separates old school hardcore trainers to Instagram 2021 trainers, there it is. Because what do we know? Whilst Ben Davidson's blowing smoke up his own arse, and Billy's, talking about how he was growing into the fight and whatever else, Mark was saying, you know what? Out you go for another round, because you're good for another round. Why? Because he was good for another round. Mark didn't see nothing which said otherwise. How about that? All you've got is a bit of bruising. Out you go, lad. That's what old hardcore old school trainers would say in that situation. If you think about it, if you believe he's growing into the fight, which to be fair, Mark Tibbs did say that as well, but the difference is his actions backed it up. Mark Tibbs said he believed Billy was growing into the fight and he had a chance. And it's interesting because Mark Tibbs has actually come out and said that he questions Billy Host's heart. So I genuinely believe, rightly or wrongly, Mark Tibbs did believe that Billy had more to offer, which is backed up in his actions, because he believed Billy had more to offer. He believed that the bruising on Billy's eye wasn't enough to cause the end of the fight, given that Billy's eye was still wide open, hadn't been impaired at all, hadn't got a cut on the eye. So Mark Tibbs said, you know what, Billy, I believe you got more in you, especially given how much you stay talking for the last week about how big your heart is and how big your balls are and how the little ginger nut can't do nothing to you. So you know what, you're going back out there for another round. At which point, Ben, who stays saying the same stuff Mark was saying, he's growing into the fight, some people had him up for a few rounds and he's got a lot left in the tank. How can you say that, Ben, but then your actions in the corner, when all Billy had was a bit of swelling? Because even if you man want to be deluded by the MTK script, the Eddie Hearn script, that Billy had stage 4 eye trauma, yeah? Had terminal eye trauma. Even if you want to believe that, at that point in time, what we do know is, the facts are, the doctor cleared him to carry on. No one said, oh, no one gave him an x-ray. No one said, you know what, it's snapped in 17 places. It's terminal. He's going to lose his eye. No one said that. The doctor said, crack on, lad, you're just fine. That's all they knew. That's all they knew at that particular point in time. They didn't know anything else. Hence why Mark, under the information, said, you know, you out you go, lad. Doctor said you got a bit of swelling. Crack on. Yeah? Now's the time to back up some of the talking you've been doing for the last 20 years of your career. Off you go, lad. Get stuck in. Let's start seeing some of that heart you was talking about. Let's start seeing some of that bare knuckleness. Let's start seeing some of that arrogance when your kids was kicking William Monroe Jr. and you found it hilarious. Let's start seeing some of that, Billy. Yeah? That's what Mark Tibbs said. And rightfully so. That's what old school hardcore trainers should do. Ben, you were saying all the same things Mark was saying. Difference is, because of your 2021 Instagram trainer attitude, you like to blow smoke and have no bark, essentially. Gas the place up about how much you had left to give, and then jack. Or, yeah, jack, and then talk. That's what you call 2021 Instagram trainer style. Not a bit of actions backing up what you're saying. If you believed you had so much more to give and he was growing into the fight, why didn't you tell Billy, Billy, you've got more to give, lad, out you go. Instead, you was guilt-tripping Mark about, oh, Mark, I can't believe you allowed a fighter to go out there with a bit of a bruised eye. Wow. That's what you said, 100%. Guilt-tripping, even after the fight was finished, even after you got the result you wanted, which was to drag Billy Ho out of there with a bit of a bruised eye. You then continued to try and slag and mosh Mark Tibbs off about how he's, oh, I can't believe a responsible trainer would actually send his fighter out there with a bit of a bruised eye. Wow. Again, that in itself is Instagram trainer 2021. The fact that you think a fighter can't carry on fighting, or the fact you guilt trip someone about sending their fighter out there when all they had was a bit of bruising. It's madness. But, to be fair to Ben, that is, unfortunately, the state of boxing in 2021. Boxing trainers have devolved. Before, trainers were they were almost connected to their fighters, where, yes, they knew their fighters were going to go through trauma, but they also kind of accepted and knew that that was part and parcel of the job. Especially when you're dealing with a certain type of fighter who's done a lot of talking. Yes, we may find ourselves in a sticky situation tonight, but that's where we want to be. That's what old school trainers accepted. We may find ourselves in a situation that's not ideal. However, that's the game we're in. That's the beast we're in. 2021 trainers, they don't have that. All they care about is saving face. Yeah, Billy, you've talked a whole load of rubbish for 20 years, but you know what? Let's just get out of it and live to fight another day and talk another day and gas the place up about how we was growing into the fight and how some people had us up rounds. That's the Instagram trainer. It's not the old school trainer. The old school trainer was repulsed by that kind of behaviour. That someone can run out of a fight and then stay talking about how they was growing into it and how they had loads left and how there needs to be a rematch and how I'd like to see how it plays out. Or talk about how you would have loved to have seen how the other rounds would have went. What do you mean you would have loved to have seen how the other rounds would have went? You was the one who dragged him out of there. Mark Tibbs was doing exactly that when you stopped him. Mark Tibbs was going to see how the other rounds played out until you got your big wig involved. All in the video. No doubt. All in the video you was, Ben. Chewing his ear off. Yeah? Before you injected yourself, Mark Tibbs weren't fixing to leave no questions unanswered. We were going to find out, number one, how good Billy Ho Saunders' chin is. Number two, how big his balls are. Number three, how big his heart is. That's what we were going to find out, and rightfully so, because people forget this. The whole point of a fight is to find out, or the boxing ring is the ring of truth. Yeah? That's what it is. There ain't no hiding. Well, there wasn't. Until Instagram training started proliferating, there wasn't nowhere to hide. It was the ring of truth. You will surely find out who you are today. That's what should have happened on May 9th or whenever it was. Billy Ho Saunders should have found out who he was. Instead, he brought a weasel Instagram trainer in. And I know he did it on purpose, which is fair play to him. I should have known then that he was planning on a quick exit when they flew Ben Davison in on late notice. That didn't make no sense, did it? Wait a minute, you've been training with Mark Tibbs for 10 weeks, but now you want Ben there? Oops. We should have known then what he was planning on doing. In my opinion, it was all planned out. He knew that Mark weren't going to have that. He sensed Mark's behaviour. Mark wasn't there for all of the BS during the week, and Billy sensed that. Billy sensed that Mark weren't here to play no games. He sensed that Mark Tibbs is old school. He's not going to drag me out of there when I've got a bit of bruising on my eye. He's going to expect me to back up some of the things I've been saying. So what I'll do is I'll fly Ben in. I know that Ben, at the first sign of any markings on my eye, he's going to drag me out. How do we know this well? When Tyson Fury got put down against Wilder, he was begging to drag him out of there. It's only because Freddie Roach said, no, let the fight go on. Fury's had his best round. It's only reason Ben Davison was about to stop the fight. Why? I believe the reason Ben Davison wanted to stop the first Fury versus Wilder fight was because he wanted to, again, save his fighter's face. He was worried that Fury was going to get knocked out cold. So Ben Davison was thinking, well, if I stop it controversially, then at least Fury will be able to blame me, kind of thing. And my fighter will save face. That's all that Ben Davison cares about, is his fighter's saving face, rather than letting them deal with their own consequences and dealing with their own fate. Which is that's what the Ring of Truth is supposed to be about. After 20 years of talking, the fans had paid, the boxing gods had earned the right to see some of this play out for Billy. And unfortunately, he ran away from that fate. And now, well, I was about to say now we'll never know if he has any heart, but we know he don't have no heart because he didn't make a sound. And Ben Davison was going full 2021 Instagram shill. Billy hoed him, he didn't make a sound. Yeah, he was biting that pillow that Alvarez rammed his head into. He was silent. He was chewing on pillow, no doubt, 100%. So, we do know where his heart is. He ain't got no heart. What he had was a bit of bruised eye and jumped out and dragged Ben into it to muddy the water, to make the water misty. Oh, well, no, I got pulled out and my man Billy Ho going on Talk Sport talking about, that's the team's job to really... What? Team's job? You jumped out, you muppet, about team's job. Oh, yeah, well, to be fair to my team, yeah, it's frustrating, but they're just doing it. What? You got dragged out because you didn't say nothing and you begged Ben to pull you out because you was done. Well, you knew what was coming. You knew Alvarez was rallying the crowd up, ready to proper ride your hind legs off one last time. No doubt about that. So anyway, don't let me see no one else talking about Boxer Size Ben, because now you know why he got the name Boxer Size Ben. Because he is the definition of a goofy, fruity 2021 Fruity Loop trainer. He ain't serious. He don't have no skills of training. He knows how to run, which, as I've explained before, is the most basic boxing skill. Disengaging and running is the most basic boxing skill. Josh Taylor for the last 4 rounds against Ramirez, just running around. Super disappointing. Ben Davison knows how to run, that's it. Don't want to hear no more about it. He knows how to run around and be scary and make fights boring, that's it. He don't know how to do high level skills. He knows how to drag his fighters out when they're in the middle of a decent fight. Billy Ho Saunders. At that point in time, great trainers inspire their fighters to be able to do things they weren't able to do. Especially when Ben Davison alleges Billy Ho had so much more left, and so we went there. If Billy had so much more left, and if Billy was growing, why didn't you inspire some of that? Innit? Why didn't you inspire some more growth? Why didn't you inspire Billy to grow himself or grow his ass off of the stool? Oops. Innit? Where was that growth? Or did you miss that one? Or did you miss that part of the growth? Yeah? Ben, you are an Instagram trainer, and there's nothing wrong with that. Someone's got to be it, but I'm just telling you, it's you. Stop questioning why people say it. Now you know why. Because you're goofy. You're a super Fruity Loop. No doubt. And Billy, you scary. Let's not put this all on Ben. Yes, Ben's probably 70% responsible because he enabled. But the 30% or the 50% comes from Billy being a jack. Because Billy loves to jack. Don't forget that. As much responsibility as Ben has, Billy, his favourite thing to do is jack. His favourite thing to do is to get hit once on the eye, get a bit of bruising and jump out. Because he's scary. He's an abomination to the boxing gods. The boxing gods have cast him out. Yeah? No doubt.